Okay, Chelsea, I had an article. I just need to find it really quick. Where did I put it?
Is it going to be good news today?
No.
Oh, no.
This one comes from NBC News. It is written by Caroline Hopkins on January 25th, 2024. Title, The U.S. just sold its helium stockpile. Here's why medical world is worried.
Okay.
On Thursday, the U.S. government sold the Federal Helium Reserve, a massive underground stockpile based in Amarillo, Texas, that supplies up to 30% of the country's helium. Once the deal is finalized, the buyer, which will likely be the highest bidder, the industrial gas company Messer, will claim some 425 miles of pipelines spanning Texas, Kansas, and Oklahoma, plus about 1 billion cubic feet of the only element on Earth that's cold enough to make an MRI machine work. The regulatory and logistical issue with the facility threaten a temporary shutdown as it passes from public to private ownership, and hospital supply chain experts worry the sale could have serious consequences for healthcare down the road, especially when it comes to MRIs. To be sure, a federal helium reserve shutdown wouldn't mean that MRIs would suddenly power down across the country, said Sumi Saha, Senior Vice President of Government Affairs at Premier Inc., which contracts with helium suppliers on behalf of 4,400 hospitals in the US. But we are stressing about this shortage from a healthcare perspective. MRI machines are the #1 concern. American patients undergo an estimated 40 million MRI scans each year to help diagnose cancer, brain and spinal cord injuries, strokes, and heart conditions. The superconductive magnet-powered imaging machines give doctors clear, high-resolution images of areas inside the body they can't see on X-ray and CT scans. But without liquid helium, the Earth's coldest element, MRI machines can't keep their magnets cold enough to generate these images. The sale of the government stockpile of the non-renewable element could exacerbate an existing supply shortage, Saha said. A number of factors could trigger a shutdown of the facility that could last as long as 3 years, said Rich Gottwald, CEO of the Compressed Gas Association, a trade group that represents companies including Messer that buy up helium and sell it to hospitals, semiconductor manufacturers, NASA, and other customers. This facility spans 3 states, each of which has its own laws, and the federal government didn't need to reconcile state-specific rules, but a private buyer would, he said. Another issue is that helium must be enriched before it can be used, and a separate system is needed to do that. That enrichment system isn't part of the Federal Reserve, but it is privately owned by 4 private companies, including Messer. Unlike the pipeline and helium itself, it wasn't for sale. A new owner will need to create some sort of lease to use the enrichment unit, or build their own unit to enrich helium, Gottwald said. There's a whole host of issues that need to be resolved, and the concern is until they are resolved, the system will need to be shut down. In a letter in October urging the White House to delay the sale, the CGA and 4 other trade associations laid out what they see as the most critical issues at the facility. 2 of the trade associations behind the letter, AdvaMed and the Medical Imaging and Technology Alliance, represent MRI manufacturers. Quote, timely, critical patient care would suffer if helium supply is constricted further. AdvaMed urges the White House to delay the sale and privatization of the Federal Helium Reserve until outstanding issues identified by the Compressed Gas Association are resolved, end quote, said Scott Whitaker, AdvaMed CEO. The sale has been in the works for more than a decade. Congress first mandated it through the Helium Stewardship Act, and it was initially supposed to occur in 2021, but a series of delays, in part due to the same logistical and regulatory issues threatening shutdowns today, postponed the auction to Thursday. That's probably a good place to end. There is more to the article. If you wish to read more, by all means. It's an interesting topic. And if your only real intentional interaction with helium is in balloons, you would not realize that there's actually a whole world behind that, which could go away in a very short time span, that is medical technology that uses helium.
Yeah. Do you think the private buyer is something to do with balloons?
No. And in fact, it's the subsidization of helium that allows us to use it for balloons. If it was actually free market prices, we wouldn't be able to use helium in balloons because it would be $80 per balloon.
I wouldn't be buying that if it was $80 per balloon. But helium is nice to have in balloons. They float. Our breath does not do that. And that's not good. I mean, in the end, I feel like money talks more than anything in the United States. and that's dangerous.
Yeah, and if there's critical supplies of things that you are stockpiling, it's probably best that it remains in public hands and not at the whims of a few billionaires who probably own these companies.
Yeah, because they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They can do anything.
They make money. Yes, and in fact, there being a dwindling supply means they can make more money.
That's true.
And a very annoying thing is if you own a monopoly on a product, you can, a monopoly or a monopsony, depending on what we're looking at there. But yeah, that's a little bit of depressing news, potentially depressing news, I guess.
So it's not truly bad news yet.
It's just potentially bad and likely bad in the long run. But yeah, 48 hours to think on that and hopefully get your MRIs if you need them. So anyhow, we'll see you Friday.